Giuliani ran the biggest city in the country, and he had a pretty good track record.
Yeah, that's right. He was mayor of New York City from 1994 to 2001. Of course, he was widely credited for reducing violent crime in the city. Let's not forget, he was the mayor during September 11th. And a lot of people hailed his leadership during the September 11th attacks. And then also Oprah Winfrey even dubbed him America's mayor during a 9/11 memorial.
He was hardcore. I mean, cleaned up New York, and this is sort of more evidence of what he's talking about here. Let's bring in our panel. Cromwell Brown, host of #OwnShow and Oprah.com. Evie Pompouris back with us for this segment. Deneen Manette, criminal investigator, author of The Ultimate Betrayal. Now, Evie, lots of criticism levied at officials. One of the things that sort of caught people was, why wait until 8 o'clock at nighttime, when things can run amok, to release the grand jury report?
Look, I don't think nighttime is the best time to do this, because obviously at nighttime you're going to have more criminal activity. However, in speaking to some of my sources, the assumption seems to be is that they wanted to get this information out there as quickly as possible, because ironically they have been criticized for their lack of transparency and timeliness. So they didn't want to hold on to it overnight and present it the next day. So they were trying to do the right thing. That is some of what my sources are saying and the assumptions that they're making.
We are actually looking at footage alongside of Evie there of Los Angeles, where there's a peaceable demonstration. So far tonight, most of the demonstrations feel disruptive, but they're fairly peaceable. Deneen, I saw you shaking your head already at what Evie was saying. What's going on?
Because, you know, as I said before, Ferguson Police Department set the tone for this mess that's going on now. I understand, you know, I guess that they wanted to get this out early last night, but that doesn't make any sense. They didn't do anything early in this investigation. They didn't pick up his body off the ground early. They didn't interview the witnesses that had information early. They let them go out and talk to other people and have their testimony, you know, not be effective and not be accurate, because they, you know, they were taking their sweet time getting everything done. They didn't do anything early. So I don't understand why they didn't just wait till this morning. They had already closed the schools down. They could have waited till the morning and had all day in the daylight to deal with this situation, rather than doing it in the middle of the night and causing this chaos.
Well, and here's some evidence of some of the chaos. Evie shared some video with us that was given to her from a source in Ferguson. This was shot about 3 a.m. local time. Have a look.
3 in my car. 10-4, 3110. 3110, if you could assist. 3108, Dollar General with 1081 subjects. He has 3. 10-4, coming from the Home Depot. Start me another unit.
Evie?
You know, Dr. Drew, I want to say something, because I've been sitting and I've been listening to everybody's sides, and I want to speak on behalf of law enforcement in respect to what's been going on. I don't think anybody really understands what it means to be in law enforcement. I hear, you know, I heard Vanessa in the last block talking about, you know what, that she's a black female and what it's like. Well, you know what? I want to talk about what it's like for law enforcement and the sacrifices that they're making and the choices that they have to make. Nobody on that panel, or perhaps even this panel, understands what that means. And so everybody Monday morning quarterbacks everything. I get what Deneen is saying, but Deneen, if they had waited till tomorrow morning to release this footage, you know what? Somebody else would have been sitting in that seat, maybe not you, criticizing the Ferguson Police Department, the St. Louis County, for what they're doing. They can't do anything right at this point.
Deneen.
And it's getting to the point where I think it's a little ridiculous.
First of all, my husband is law enforcement, and I started off in law enforcement for 6 years. So I absolutely know law enforcement. That's an assumption that you've made that's incorrect. I am saying that everybody has an opportunity to look back and reflect on the decisions that they've made. And I think that this particular department has a history of making poor decisions when it comes to this particular situation. They're a small department. They have a lot of room that they need to grow. They need to be more inclusive. They need to do more community policing. They need to do a lot of things differently. I think that there is room for evaluation and not just take a carte blanche, just complete overall, yes, they did everything right, and not look at this more, you know, intensively to see what they can do differently.
Deneen would agree. Karama,
nobody said that they've done anything right, though. That's the thing. No one said that they've done anything right at all. All anyone's done is criticize the law enforcement community, period. And I didn't make the assumption about you, Deneen, being, I know you're a criminal investigator. I didn't know your status. All I'm saying that this is so one-sided, and it's just not right.
All right, Karama, you've been sitting quietly.
Well, because my heart is hurting about this. Like, I'm listening to Evie talk, and Evie, I have family members that are in the law enforcement, and at this point, I just cannot empathize. Ferguson Police Department has done everything wrong in this entire case, from beginning to end. There are police officers who I'm friend here with in L.A. who do it right every single day, and I know that they put their life on the line. But these officers have done something heinous. This officer has committed a crime. What he's done is horrible. There is a person that is dead. A child that is dead, a child that reminds me of my sons every single day, a child that reminds me of me. And so there is so much fury and hurt and pain that I have right now that I'm sorry, I can't think about anyone else. Especially, I'm well versed on our country's history. And so a lot of times when we're talking about the police, all this does is remind me of the things that my father told me he went through, that my grandfather told me he went through, and so on and so on.